Chris and I had been together for 6 years, and I thought we were unshakable. He was my rock steady, dependable, and loving. We had been saving up for a dream vacation, but until then, we settled for short weekend getaways to unwind. So, when Chris suggested a trip to a secluded cabin in the mountains, I was thrilled. He said he needed some time to disconnect from the world and reconnect with me. We both had demanding jobs, and I welcomed the opportunity for some uninterrupted time together. He booked the cabin himself, telling me it was a place a coworker had recommended. As the weekend approached, I noticed he was more distracted than usual, always on his phone or closing his laptop whenever I walked into the room. When I teased him about his top-secret project, he laughed it off, saying it was just work stuff. I didn't push it. The morning of the trip, Chris seemed oddly nervous. He double-checked everything: the bags, the car, even my phone charger. I chalked it up to excitement and let it slide. The drive to the cabin was beautiful, with winding roads and scenic views. Chris seemed to relax as we got closer, which made me feel at ease too. When we arrived, the cabin was stunning: wooden beams, a roaring fireplace, and a view of the forest that took my breath away. Chris unpacked while I explored, snapping pictures for my social media. That night, after dinner, Chris suggested we take a walk under the stars. It was romantic, and I felt so lucky to have someone who cared enough to plan something like this. But as we walked, I noticed he kept glancing at his phone, which was unusual. He had said he wanted to disconnect, yet he seemed glued to his screen. The next morning, I woke up early to make breakfast. As I was searching for utensils in the kitchen, I opened a drawer and found something that didn't belong: a folded piece of paper with handwriting I didn't recognize. Curious, I unfolded it and felt my stomach drop. It was a note: "Can't wait to see you this weekend. Love, Jenna." I froze. Who was Jenna? My mind raced as I tried to piece together what this could mean. When Chris came into the kitchen, I held up the note and asked, "Who's Jenna?" His face went pale. "It's not what you think," he said quickly, grabbing the note from my hand. I felt a surge of anger. "Then explain it," I demanded. Chris stumbled over his words, claiming Jenna was just a friend who had stayed at the cabin before. But his story didn't add up, and I wasn't buying it. Determined to get answers, I started looking around the cabin. That's when I found a second clue: a woman's scarf draped over the back of a chair, something I hadn't noticed the night before. "Whose scarf is this?" I asked, my voice trembling. Chris sighed and admitted the truth. Jenna was someone he had been seeing for months, and the cabin had been their getaway spot. He claimed he felt guilty and wanted to make things right with me by bringing me there. I was stunned. The place that was supposed to be a romantic retreat was nothing more than a stage for his lies. Furious and heartbroken, I packed my things and left. Chris begged me to stay, but I couldn't even look at him. On the drive home, I felt a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, and even relief. I deserved better than someone who would betray me so deeply. In the weeks that followed, I blocked Chris on every platform and leaned on my friends for support. I also started therapy to process the betrayal. It wasn't easy, but I refused to let his actions break me. Now, I'm learning to trust again, mostly myself. I've discovered strength I didn't know I had and have vowed never to ignore red flags again.